rambunctious little tiger, that one.
Oh man, she's about to be hitting the terrible twos. That's coming up next, dude. The excitement must be building.
She's 19 months old.
Ah, God.
Not. She's not almost 2 years. She's only 19 months old.
Okay. All right. You're going to be like, oh, she's 47 months old. Oh, my baby, 81 months. I know. So adorable. So cute.
Oh, stop it.
Dude, all right. So let's go ahead. Let's break this down. I know that we had a very depressing talk, Mason. What was that? 2 nights ago, I guess. Stars losing it. It was not a good day. Monday night.
No.
You know, but I mean, there's something that you have to appreciate, I guess, and it's that the Stars really outperformed what many people thought that they could actually do. We got to give credit where it's due. But I feel that Tampa Bay just basically outperformed that entire series, and we scrapped together a couple wins.
But you know what? I feel like that it is actually a lot easier this year. Like, since we had, because of COVID, this part of the season cut off, it wasn't 82 games that we clawed and fought our way through. You know, we earned it. We made our way to the finals. I'm not trying to take that away. But I think it would have been a lot worse if it was a whole season and then we lost in the finals. Like, that's that gut-wrenching. This is just like, hey, at least there's a season.
Exactly. And I mean, like, it brought a lot of excitement. The one thing I loved about it too, especially with the Mavericks, I know they fell apart in 6 as well in the first round, but to a very good Clippers team. And I don't know if it was more heartbreaking that you saw Luka kind of outperform Kawhi Leonard in a lot of instances, which brings a lot of confidence to the Mavs. But I think what's funnier is that the Clippers still failed to make it to the Western Conference Finals. Again.
Because I hate the Clippers are my new Heat. I hate them so fucking much now.
Oh, God.
Because of that multiple dirty plays against Luka and the Mavs. But it was a meme whenever, because like Paul George called himself Playoff P, and everyone's like, "What the fuck are you talking about?"
Right.
And, like Pat Beverly said, like last year, he's like to LeBron or someone, he's like the next 5 years are mine. It's like, dude, you're like 32, and you're like a sixth man, so no one cares about you. But anyway, when they got knocked out, someone made a meme for the Clippers and the Western Conference Championship trophy, and it said "social distancing." Champions of the year.
Oh, it's beautiful. It's beautiful. Like, yeah, it showed like it actually showed the trophy and them, dude. And I feel like they've been close for quite a few years, but this was supposed to be like their build up, like their time. But I really want to bring in, a little more insight on that. Once again, we have the very acclaimed sports broadcaster who's joined us this evening. He's going to talk about, his woes of the Dallas Stars, along with, the recovery or the COVID-19 playoff pictures, with the NBA, the Lakers, and also probably we're going to dabble into a little football if we're going to finish the season. But I would like to bring on right now Marty Funko. He's joining us live via telephone. Marty, how you doing this evening?
Hey, I'm doing great. How you boys doing?
Oh, I'm doing quite well right now. How have things been? Is your things on the home front looking a little better since the last time we spoke?
Yeah, it's that's like a great man once said. It is what it is. You know what I'm trying to say?
I understand. No, I do. I fully understand. Hey, I want to start off real quick. Let's talk about those Dallas Stars. You're an avid Stars fan, man. You're a big beat writer for them, and I'm really excited to get your opinion. You had to have enjoyed these playoffs, right? That was such a run. I mean, get a little joy during this, coronavirus season.
Oh, for sure. These guys, they went in there, they played hard, they played really hard. They tried everything they could, but in the end, they just fell short. They just really, they couldn't get over that hump. They tried, and then Tampa Bay came in and said they were better, and they showed up.
Do you think that
Tyler Sagan kind of forgot to show up, just like I forgot to show up with my kids? I was supposed to pick them up early this afternoon, but
I'm sure Tyler Sagan's story is a little bit more forgivable. So you know what? Did you get your kids?
So your kids, were they in school? Were you supposed to pick them up from school? Was it band practice? Like, what were we talking about?
Well, it was school, but it was, they're at home school. So
Okay. Well, yeah, because they're not fully, and so you're supposed to pick them up. Was it from the Mrs. house?
well, no, it's my house.
What's
I mean, I don't stay there, but
Are the kids home alone?
no. She stays with them.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So, let's talk about Tyler Seguin a little bit here. He got some assists. I think you saw a lot of Stars fans getting real irritated with Seguin not getting any goals, no points actually. And then the last couple games, he got, I think, 5 assists in Game 4 and Game 5. I think he didn't have one at all in Game 6. That's right, we got shut out. So what's your opinion on that? Like, how did he flatline so hard in the playoffs?
That's how he was working all season. I mean, he didn't really play a whole lot. I mean, their own guy called him out for it. Jim Lights called him out. He called out him and Jamie Benn about midway through the regular season, and said, they're not playing up to their potential. But unfortunately, those 5 assists, which that was nice, and we were all looking forward to maybe seeing him and the whole top line come out and just destroy everything and start scoring like they did against Calgary. But they did not. They did not do that. And unfortunately, that means the Stars are going home.
That is true.
Which I'm not allowed to do for 5 or 7 more days.
I'm sorry to hear that, man. I mean, that sounds really that really does. That sounds pretty rough. So let's talk about Jamie Benn then. You think there was a lot more responsibility that was put on his shoulders?
Oh, for sure, absolutely, but rightfully so. I mean, he's the team captain. He's got to take all that responsibility. You can't shirk his responsibility. Not like other people.
So okay, all right. So what's your outlook then? I mean, you coming up, next year. I think they're saying that the new NHL season, they're probably looking at a January 2021 startup, hopefully. So what's your outlook for the Stars next season?
Oh, I'm sure that they'll look good. I mean, they've got to get a lot of young players. They'll probably play a lot like the same they did this past season in the playoffs. I mean, they'll probably go on really long runs, really long stretches where they do really well. They score a lot of goals, score in bunches, and you see that happen all time and again. But things like that, you have to be careful because you could end up being the LA Kings from the 2000s, where you're consistently going to the playoffs every year, but you're only winning 50 games a year just because you're not a great regular season team. And that could be them. And they might barely make the playoffs and look terrible going in and keep this whole facade of, oh, the Stars are doing great. They're going to keep moving on. I wish I could move on.
Is that so?
Be strong, Marty. Be strong.
Yeah, seriously. You got a lot of people who love and support you. So, they could.
Say, did you guys hear about those Tennessee Titans players that tested positive for COVID? It's a very good thing. I'm glad that they're positive.
So, well, the sense of positivity, that's not a good positive there, Marty. But
oh, really?
Yeah, no, you don't want to be positive with COVID. I want you to be positive with the outlook on life. That makes
something that my wife said make a lot more sense.
You see, yeah, that's you gotta understand the difference between the two.
One time, my grandpa he actually died. He was bleeding out, and the ambulance got there, and they kept asking him and asking us like what his blood type was, but he didn't make it. But he was strong the whole time and kept telling us to be positive.
Yeah, that's a pretty good joke there, Mason. That's pretty good.
So are you nervous about? I don't think this is going to be the only time that COVID's going to be an issue, especially in a full contact sport. I don't know how the NHL did it. It's probably because they only had 2 locations and they had a full bubble.
That's part of it. They tested everybody. They required daily testing. If you were going to get inside the bubble, you had to test for 2 weeks, and you had to show no negative results the entire time. And you had to make sure that no one from the outside could get in. Sorry, I got a little bit distracted. My mistake.
Okay.
No one unauthorized got in from the outside. That's exactly how it worked. And they worked in that bubble. The NFL can't do that. I mean, they just can't do it. They can't keep the fans out. I mean, I know Denver played that game with the South Park people, but whatever.
That was actually kind of cool with the South Park people. I thought that was a nice little touch up there that they did. So are you thinking that
Randy Marsh where he's covered in jizz?
Oh, please, that would have been awesome.
Don't think they would have liked that too much.
No, they probably would have said that's inappropriate. This is a family sport, like Marty would actually say.
You guys hear about who's going into the NBA playoff finals now?
Yeah, you got the Heat and you got the Lakers. It's
the Heat again, boys. It's the Heat.
It's always the damn Heat, right? I mean,
Can't take the Heat.
I think LeBron, this has been an 11-month season, and I think LeBron's probably going to go ahead and take this one.
It's very possible. I mean, he's trying to prove once and for all that he's better than Michael Jordan. I mean, I'm also trying to prove that I'm better than Jordan. So
yeah, but you're
in here.
It matters. Yeah, in your chest.
No. Jordan's this guy that hangs around my wife sometimes. Sometimes she has to go to a work conference, and sometimes he has to go too, and sometimes they have to share a motel room. It's platonic, easy hanging out stuff.
I don't know. That sounds like that's a lot of close contact with each other. Are you sure that's?
Oh no, they socially distance. It's fine.
Oh, that's what she tells you? Is that they socially distance?
Right.
Okay.
I've seen the pictures.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good. So what are your predictions? Do you think that the NFL is going to be able to finish their season?
Why not? Even if the players get the COVID, I mean, they're going to have other players that come in and play for them. They're going to make their money no matter what. So we'll see.
Yeah. All right. So then last thing, what's your outlook? If they do finish the season, I'm liking Dak Prescott right now. I think Ezekiel Elliott's kind of plateauing a little bit, but I mean, like he still, has already 4 touchdowns on the season. How do you see the Cowboys faring this year?
I mean, they've got just about as good a chance as anybody else. I mean, that's the crazy thing about football is that the turnover for the playoffs every year is, I think, 50%.
It's crazy.
So, anybody's got as good a chance as anybody else. It's the weirdest thing.
Well, you know what? I hope, you get home to your kids here pretty soon. It's getting kind of late. I need to make sure, you need to make sure that, they've eaten. I mean, you do feed them, right?
Oh, I'm still not allowed home, remember?
Oh, of course. Excuse me. You're right. I'm sorry. But not for another, what'd you say, about another 7 days?
Roughly, give or take.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to give my heart out to your kids. I hope that, your wife and her new friend maintain social distancing. Hope that works out quick. As much as possible. Exactly. As much as possible.
And I hope that when you're in your motel room tonight with that bottle of bourbon that's half empty from tonight, the pills, that bottle of painkillers, put it away. Put it away.
Please. Are you there, Marty?
Yes. Yes. I appreciate you. I appreciate you boys caring. Thank you.
Of course. All right. Well, everybody, this has been Marty Funko. Thank you for joining us once again. We'll probably be catching back up with him here in a few weeks to try to see how the Dallas Cowboys are doing. And probably,
thanks very much, guys.
Of course, Marty Funko, everybody. And this is episode number 119 of the Thanks for Nothing podcast. It's our 20th episode since we started doing this again. And man, time flies. I feel like it's already been 20 extra episodes that we put down the drain. And I'm pretty excited about it because everything just seems to be going up. We're about to be having Dustin join us right now. He just got home late from work. How you doing, Dustin? There he is.
Guys.
Hey,
Hello.
You like sports, right?
Yeah, sports are fun.
Who you're talking to?
So Marty was talking about the Dallas Stars. What's your opinion? What's your opinion there? Did you enjoy actually watching?
They absolutely sucked in the finals. They had one good game, and it was game 1.
That's it. That double overtime match, dude.
It was terrible. After they won the first game because they were better for the first period and a half, and then Tampa Bay pretty much took over the rest of the series, and they played like absolute garbage. They couldn't get up the ice. They couldn't move the puck around without Tampa having someone there. They were jumping all over them. They were swarming them. Most of the series looked like it was played on the power play. Not that they weren't short of power plays, But even when they were even strength, it just looked like Tampa had an extra guy on the ice the whole damn time. Like, it looked
game
awful.
Game 2, it looked like the Stars barely even had the puck in Tampa's zone. It was just a purely
Barely.
yeah. If
I was surprised. I think game 4 or so, whenever they pushed it to game 5, whenever they pushed it to game 6 and it showed the time of possession was almost even. I was like, no, there's no way. Absolutely not.
sad game. I'm still proud of our Stars.
For sure. No, I'm super proud of them. I'm so happy that they got that far, but it was awful.
there was definitely two different classes. I know we always like to do this right here. And yeah, Tampa, here's Tampa. Like it was.
Well, not just that. There were two classes of Stars. There was the Stars at the very beginning of the return to play. And then once the tournament started, they just kept being good. And then whenever the finals started, they couldn't do it anymore.
Flatline, dude. I agree. I mean, like I think their power play, the stats on their power plays was like 1 for 19 or something like that.
Yeah,
like
something stupid like that.
When I saw that, I was like, I never want to see a stat like that ever again. Like that hurts my gut just looking at it, actually.
And I think didn't Tampa have like one power play goal like every game?
Just about. If they didn't have one every game, they almost did.
Yeah, like there was, and I did complain a lot about some of those penalties that were being called. I felt like, I don't know if Tampa was just really good at like hiding some of their penalties, because I felt like some of the refs were staring right at it. So certain interferences or high sticks that actually happened, I was like, it's in front of your fucking face. It just happened. And then they're quick to call the interference on the other side. And I'm like, whoa, look, it's another power play. And I feel like
some moron like Corey Perry, who did keep us alive a lot, but then he slams his fucking stick between a guy's legs and hits him in the nuts in the middle of the ice.
Yeah.
What do you fucking, and Radulov getting 2 penalties in the first period game.
Was it game 2?
Yeah, like why did you do that? Don't do that. What you did, stop.
Well, this is your host, Mike. Joined alongside me, we do have Mason as well. And Dustin, I feel like we should probably go to you for some analysis from now on instead of Marty Funko. You seem to be really focused and emotional, specifically on sports.
Oh, you're emotionally available. And Marty Funko, sad, fucking miserable, sad guy.
I think
it sounds like you have an emotion about this.
His career started to take a nosedive because he just like, I don't know, he's really thinking about his wife a lot, and he doesn't think he's a very good father. And like all we want is just like some analysis on sports, but he just keeps telling us about that personal stuff and letting everybody else know that he has issues at home. I don't know.
And we can hear the bottle opening every time he pours a drink, and we can hear the pill bottle like.
That's really sad, man. That's really sad. I feel so awful for that person. Whoever that person may be. I've never met them, so.
No, I haven't met him in person either. But, he was really big. He was a big beat writer for the Stars. And I don't know. I think he's won a few awards for the Dallas Morning News. I don't know. You can Google it. You'll probably find something on Marty Funko. We probably we should actually make something that you can Google for Marty Funko. Has to be a real person. Tonight I guess we'll just I'll start off and say
shadow and like one of those like 1940s detective hats on
with the reporter.
It just says press on the side. Yeah.
Shadow and all blotchy, just the cigarette hanging out.
What the hell is this, 1941? Like I don't know what's happening. Before one of the main conversations we're going to have tonight is last night, of course, was the first debate between Joe Biden and President Donald Trump. And wow, what a wild ride that was. That was just a roller coaster of emotions.
I think we all lost last night.
What?
I think we all lost last night.
Every viewer of that, there is nobody. And I had said, and I've said this to you guys before. Before we get really deep into it, I said to you guys before that it was going to come down to that first debate of who you were going to, if there was, who's going to kind of command the entire election. I was wrong because I feel like that didn't change anybody's minds on who they thought they were going to vote for.
Oh, you're wrong, sir. You are wrong.
There was like a headbutt session that just happened for about an hour. And at the end of it, you just had two really irritated old men just looking at each other and just going, oh my God, I can't believe I have to debate this clown right now. This is hilarious. Now, I have my opinions and you guys do too. But before we get into that, where are you guys drinking this evening?
East Ciders.
East Ciders.
Oh, it's the one that ciders instead of ciders.
Yeah, like a not on the side. Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I keep it to my side here, but I think it's to the east. I can't really tell directions. But anyway, it has alcohol in it, and I don't need to understand directions once I'm drinking. So
exactly.
I'm not driving.
Exactly. What about you,
I
Jeff?
have what's called an Airy Day Amber IPA from the Wild Acre Brewery. There you are.
Oh, someone's a traitor.
Ah.
How's that going, by the way? Is that still going pretty well?
Yeah, I'm only working one full
dude.
shift, but we'll see how it all turns out. I'm liking it so far.
Hell yeah,
Everyone
dude.
seems to be pretty cool.
I'm actually enjoying my barefoot grape juice. Bought myself a box of it. We're now to the boxes, because
It's slippery slope,
just
man.
going down.
You're in for a hell of a time.
But yes, I would like to go ahead and say, to start off the main segment this evening, thanks for nothing, Proud Boys. That's what this is going to be called, because there is a lot of mudslinging that went back and forth on, oh, don't you dare say you denounce these people, you're going to lose all those votes, and don't you dare denounce these people, you're losing half of your support. There was a lot of that going on. And so the first thing I want to say that I noticed, and it was very, very clear, I felt like only one of the candidates last night was speaking to the American people.
For sure.
And that's just, you could rewatch it from beginning to end, and only one candidate spoke to the American people.
Only one tried to reach out.
Yeah, just one. And we all know who it was. The other one just defended himself on everything, or blamed other people, or just kind of pointed the finger in the different direction. That was my problem with President Trump last night, mainly just flat out. What was y'all's takes? Like what you guys had. Mason, I'll start with you.
Well, why would you be surprised? This is a guy who said, I take no responsibility. I mean,
Plain and simple.
Yeah, I'm the president of the United States. I'm the commander in chief. I don't take responsibility. Yeah, bless you. Bless you again. You don't get a third one, sir. Use my limit. No, it was just very like Biden. I think it's kind of hard watching Biden, because you can see him kind of, I don't think it's like a mental lag even, but it's hard debating people like Trump, just because you're going to be constantly interrupted, and Trump has no incentive to get his thoughts across. Trump just has to be Trump. Biden has to be the intellectual argument against what Trump is saying. So Trump counters that by constantly talking and interrupting, which he did repeatedly. And they a lot of people gave Chris Wallace shit, but Trump just would not shut his fucking mouth.
Oh, yeah.
And Biden had like little jabs in between. But
I was going to say, yeah, they both interrupted each other.
Oh, yeah.
However,
Trump just would not fucking, even being told, like, sir, please let him finish. He just keeps going and going and going.
Your campaign agreed to this. Will you please abide by the rules your campaign agreed to?
Yeah, now they're thinking for the second session, they want to change up the rules a little bit more. That's what I've heard as well.
I've just kind of heard that as just like a little throw it out there, like, maybe we should do this kind of thing. Not so much that they're planning on doing anything about it, because they won't.
Well, it's like it was almost completely incoherent at sometimes, because it's just two people just yelling at each other. And then the fact that Chris Wallace had to raise his voice like he's talking to a child. Sir, like you heard the echo in the room because of how loud that he yelled. And it's like, And he's probably like, holy shit, I just yelled at the president. Like,
no, he's not afraid to do that. That's the one thing about Chris Wallace, man. I've never been a huge fan of his, but sometimes he will do the right thing as far as being fair and balanced.
Yeah, because I mean, he is a legitimate Republican. That's the thing.
Yes, he is a fair reporter, but he is a Republican.
And but I'll make the argument that Trump is not a Republican. He's the Republican Party. Wallace is a true old school Republican.
And I thought, and I immediately saw the bitterness from people who supported Trump's side that Chris Wallace was being unfair, and it was only I'd like to say whenever certain questions got heated or he was being accused of something and he wouldn't let Biden finish the 2 minutes, which Biden did as well. Biden did flip it in the other direction, wouldn't let Trump finish. But the only difference is when Wallace would yell at Biden, Biden would go like this.
Yep.
And he would stop. Trump goes, but I'm just trying to finish. Let me finish this sentence. Let me finish this sentence.
No, it's not about this sentence. It's about the last word.
Last word.
I say the last word, which means I win.
And whenever we talked about
other mindsets,
you have to give him a taste of his own medicine. And I felt like that was the only way that Biden was going to come out of this. I always had a fear about his public speaking ability. I know that he has a stammer, and it's something that he's worked on his whole life. But to the public eye, it's something that can be seen as not confident. It's like a lack of confidence in the way that you speak. You're coming off of an Obama era, one of the greatest public speakers ever, into what Joe Biden does. And Joe Biden handled himself quite well, but the couple times that he slipped up, I just kind of I twitched a little bit because I was like, oh, you got to just nail it home. And then when it came to the mudslinging back and forth, I was very, very impressed with how well he stood against Trump.
Oh,
I was.
Yeah. Where there's one video in I think it was maybe 2004 or 5 or so, he was still a senator. And it was about Iraq. He was given the Senate speech about denouncing the Iraq war, even though he voted for it. But he, his whole thing was, you guys have not had a plan and you're just killing us. So basically he was on this fiery rage. And it's before he's or I saw it before he was, running for vice president with Obama. It was one of the better Senate speeches I've ever seen. And then 2008, he was in the Democratic primaries. You watched Joe Biden in 2008, and it was just dude, you're fucking killing everyone. And I think there are other reasons. Obviously, he didn't get nominated, but that was when he bashed Rudy Giuliani, saying that proper sentence for Rudy Giuliani contains a noun, a verb, and 9/11.
Oh, yeah, I remember that. I remember when he said that.
Joe Biden was fucking ferocious, and so I was nervous. I was nervous for last night's debate, and unfortunately, he doesn't have a lot of leeway like Trump does, because Trump misspeaks, and they're just he's a businessman. That's just what he does, whatever that means. But Biden, if he says a word wrong or starts saying a word and says, "Oh, sorry," and then changes it, they're like, "Oh my God, he has fucking dementia. What a fucking goddamn moron."
Oh, and
look, he stuttered a little bit. He's losing his train of thought. He can't remember what he was gonna say.
Yeah, because that happened one time. I think it was towards the end, and it's the whole Sleepy Joe thing. Because I was like, man, this is mentally exhausting what's happening right now. And so I thought, it's probably 9:15. There's only about 15 minutes left in the debate. And they were going back and forth. And I think they had just gotten onto their kids. And they were going back and forth on the kids, their children. And then Chris Wallace was like, such and such question. And then he was like, you have to answer. He's like, what question? I forgot because of, and then Trump just boom, of course you did, your memory, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, there it is. That's all it was going to take.
One of my favorite. I'm sorry, Mason.
Oh no, I was just gonna say like it wasn't Biden not understanding where he was. It was more
Right.
like, you fat orange fuck, will you shut the fuck up so I can hear what Chris Wallace is saying?
Keep yapping, man.
Yeah.
Basically, what it seemed like was Trump was very well coached as far as don't talk about Bo. Don't you dare talk about Bo. If you talk about Bo, you will lose. So if Bo comes up, shift it over to Hunter, a la the drug thing, the 3.5 million, 3.5 million, 3.5 million, just shift it to Hunter, shift it to Hunter. And he brought up Bo once or like 3 times or so, and then but every time, oh, you want to talk about Bo? Well, it was the one time when he was talking about his son in doing military service. Oh, was that Hunter Biden? Like, well, actually, I was talking about my son Bo. Like, yeah.
Exactly.
So, but my favorite, yeah, I was like, stop. My favorite thing that he did was that Biden, that is, about this, is that he turned that Hunter attack into an entire deal about how, well, it's not about our families. We're not here to talk about my family or your family. We're here to talk about your family and how can we fix your family in this America, and how does, it was brilliant. Like, yeah,
Well, I
okay,
like
let him
it,
attack you. Let him attack you. Be the adult. And he changed it a little bit from the they go low, we go high. He didn't stick to the high road,
No.
but he walked along it. Like, yes, he took the high road, but at the same time, he wasn't afraid to punch below his belt a little bit. Like,
Yeah.
he wasn't afraid to call him out for his baloney or malarkey or whatever his phrase would be. He literally told him to shut up at one point. I mean, it was a good debate for Biden, basically.
Right.
It really was, and I think that the couple moments that I think Trump, I don't want to be premature and say lost him to the election, but if Trump loses the election, these are going to be seen as the moments of the 400 fucking thousand moments that in this debate, debate season at least, that Trump really fucking dropped the ball, and that's when he brought up insulin he made insulin as cheap as water. And I'm pretty sure a lot of diabetics are like, I'm fucking broke right now because I can't afford it. People that died because they can't afford it. 2, bringing up Hunter Biden and his drug troubles. And Joe flipped that to where he's, I'm proud of my son. My son overcame that. So we're in the middle of, if not just a contagion, a coronavirus pandemic, a drug abuse pandemic. And so Trump just said fuck you to all the people that lost people of substance abuse or addiction by mocking Hunter. And then the third one, of course, I think the ultimate thing that I think we're going to end up talking about a lot as Fox News. I think it's what's the annoying Fox News show?
Fox and Friends.
Fox and Friends, yes. Is it Brian Kilmeade?
I think so.
Yeah.
One of them. But anyway, he's a hardcore, unforgiving conservative that will just probably be orange from sucking Trump's fat fucking nipples all night. But he even said, like, dude, you missed the easiest layup in the history of all debates with a white nationalist question. Like,
just say the words. It's like we were talking about last week whenever I literally said, it's so easy to just say, if I lose, I'll step down. But he can't do it, and he won't do it.
No, and that was because that question was presented, and that was towards the end about the election, the mail-in fraud, the fear, stoking fear into Americans about, like, this could be fraudulent. And I believe, and I'm not sure, but like they were both asked, would you accept the election? And Biden's the only one that goes, yeah, of course. Like, if I win or if I lose. But he the only thing he really pushed was vote. Like you have to vote for whoever. He even said, whoever you choose, vote. This is your right. This is your obligation. You have to vote. Like, don't listen to this rhetoric. Don't listen to this bullshit. Vote. That just however it is you have to do it. And I was like, fuck yeah, dude. Like, that's good. that's good that they're coming around. They're actually saying that. I want to bring up here real quick. Brittany Roberts had said Bernie Sanders should have kept running. I'm sure a lot of people wish that too after that debate. I have a problem with that, only because I think it's going to be the same shit show that you're seeing, because it's not about policy anymore. And I don't think it's really about if you're going to change somebody's mind on who they want to vote for come November. I think that Bernie Sanders would have ran into the same issue that Biden did, because he would have had to give Trump a taste of his own medicine. And to the American people, it didn't look good. It just looked like two people bashing heads. What do you guys think?
I agree on principle, like, because I was a Bernie supporter, so I do wish, and without the practicality of how the election probably would have turned out, yes, I do wish Bernie Sanders just kept at it, just kept fighting. But this is hindsight, because you can't say, oh, I knew this was going to happen from the get-go. It's just not possible to say. But what has happened, which didn't happen in 2016, is Sanders was able this election to be like, all right, guys, to his supporters, like, we got to get behind this.
Yeah.
In 2016 it was different. It was very much because I voted for Hillary, even though I voted for Sanders in the primary. But I did it because I really did hate Trump. But I still do get the people at the time that were like, well, no, I'm not voting for Hillary because that should have been, Sanders. I get all that. But now what happened, thankfully, is that Sanders was able to bring over a lot of progressives to Biden's side. And Biden kind of helped the deal by letting Sanders keep, I think, 1,000 delegates, which gives him a platform or a seat at the table when discussing platform. So, like I said, on principle, I wish I was all for Sanders. I wish he kept going, but I'm still kind of glad he didn't, because it did end up so far coming together.
They did need that. They need that moderate candidate, though. That's the main thing.
Mm.
I agree that I also wanted Bernie. Trust me, I also wanted Beto in the Senate, man. But
Bernie would destroy Trump in the debates.
I don't think he would destroy him. He would debate him, and he would do better than Clinton did, I think. But he would still try to debate him. I don't think he would have been quippy and trying to throw things out at him. So having Bernie help write the policy is good enough for me, because then at least he has a say. And like you said, very, very nicely, he's allowed to keep some of his delegates so that he can have a seat at that table and help write policy and try to push things in a more progressive direction, while with the steady hand of a modern day Democrat, but this feels more like a 1960s Republican. Anyway, not the point. So, it's I don't think that it was necessarily a bad thing that Biden ended up with the candidacy.
Let me bring up also here. Brittany had said she was voting for Bernie. She has a hard time voting for either one of those fucktards, and she said, "I wish Obama could have served more than 2 terms." No, I don't want that. Obama got the ball rolling on certain progressive ideals. He's considered more moderate than a lot of the progressives that are in Congress right now.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
It's all about keeping the Constitution the way it is, and actually building upon your predecessors, not trying to tear down everything that happened. Obama wasn't perfect. I'm not going to say he was, but I can't really find a big enough reason to say, like, oh, I hate that asshole for everything he did, except for what Trump, and he tried to drive this one home. He had the weakest military. What do you guys think of that?
Obama?
No, well, Trump inherited the weakest military.
How has he inherited the weakest military and then scaled back the military?
So that's just the question, though.
I want to say this real quick. Thank you, Brittany, for saying that, because I wish the same thing for Obama. I don't want the Constitution to be changed, and I don't want Trump running for 3 terms. I wouldn't want that for Republicans. So yes, as it is, as a constitutional standard, I do not ever want a president to ever run more than 2 terms. But can we make one rule?
Somebody.
If if Trump gets his way, how he keeps joking, like, oh, maybe I should run for a third term since the Democrats didn't let me finish the first one. I think we should be like, okay, cool. Well, you're running against Obama. If you get 3 terms, then Obama can face you for a third term.
No, he finished his terms.
It's Obama with the steel chair. Just like
by God, it's a slobber knocker.
I think even Oklahoma would be like, oh, fuck, I kind of miss that guy. All right.
No, I want to bring up one big thing here. When they were asked about, they're radical extremists in the parties. So, on the liberal wing, Antifa's been the biggest fear or the biggest argument when it came to these Black Lives Matter debates, and the white supremacists on the far right side. When they were both asked to denounce, or could you denounce, and they were almost pointing a finger at each other, like, can you say it? Well, you're not going to say it, because if you say that you denounce Antifa, you're going to lose. And I feel like this is where Trump is really, not connected with reality. Most of your liberal leaning people do not fucking agree with like Antifa going like berserk or causing riots or inciting things, in violent, extreme manners. That's for one. But they both pointed a finger at each other and said, "Oh, can you denounce these extremist people?"
Yeah, they basically they Spider-Man they did the meme.
Yeah, so I believe Biden said that it was an idea and not an actual organization. Which
the president's the current FBI director that the president, I believe, recommended for the role said that it's an ideology. It's not an organization that has chapters and brick and mortar establishments. So,
but just for the basic principle of the debate, should he have said, "Yeah, I denounce Antifa. I don't agree with riots"?
I don't think so personally.
Which he said.
And the reason I say so is not because I don't think that Antifa is not a shadow organization that's out there trying to infiltrate things and whatever else the hell they think. But if the actual definition of Antifa is, as far as I'm aware, still just anti-fascist. And if someone were to actually, a political person were to actually come out and say that they were against Antifa, it's really hard.
Oh, so you're a fascist.
Exactly. Yeah. To not make that claim. So,
which somebody would. They'd be like, "Oh, he's against that. He's a fascist." Like, it would automatically. You're right. Like anything just to kind of boil down or just to burn the other person. I get that. That's fine. So, okay.
I'm kind of torn on it because it is. Now there is. You can't say that this is the Proud Boys, but there is.
But they think that it is, though. They think they think that Antifa is just as ingrained as the Black Panther Party was back in the 60s, that it's this terrorist movement that has cells all across America that are just waiting and planning on killing cops.
Yeah, but, that's what I'm saying. Like, there is a statistic that far-right extremists commit more domestic terrorism than anyone else.
Yes, and that's proven.
Yes, there is a number attached to that. With Antifa, it is an ideology, and you and I, the three of us, could show up and be like, yeah, we're Antifa, and the other Antifa members, and we don't have our badges, so we don't know. So
so we all get killed.
I just show up and I'm like, yeah, I'm Antifa, I'm anti-fascist. Now I get it though, because with the Proud Boys, what I was saying, like, I don't think there's really any, coordinated domestic terrorism associated with them. They're just kind of assholes, and they do shitty things.
I agree.
So then it's kind of like, okay, well, if you're trying to be fair, you can't say, because I obviously would be for Antifa before the Proud Boys, but so taking that bias, you can't say, well, yes for me, no for you. That's the trouble. and
Yep.
it's
Okay.
it's a hard situation. But I don't think Joe Biden, Antifa has never, whereas the Proud Boys have been pro-Trump. Antifa hasn't been like, yeah, we're fighting for Biden. We're part of Biden's army. That's not a thing. That's the difference. Is that Trump has his little army and he has people that are like, yeah, we'll fight and die for you. And
yeah, and the question was presented, with the whole like, do you denounce Antifa? Like, oh, if you say that, you're going to lose half of your base. Like, it's almost like fear the liberals. They're trying to ruin this country, and like you heard a lot throughout the night in the debate. You had one that I felt, I said this already, like spoke to the American people more, and two that said, if you vote against me, you're voting for fear, you're voting for murder, you're voting. It's not fair. I'm the victim here. I need my supporters to, come to my rescue. And that made me really question. I was like, this is the leader of the free nation who's doing this. There never once did he say that, this is for the American family. This is for the workers. This is for this. It's like, I have to defend everything I've done because the media is lying to me, or the media is lying about me, and everything that you hear is false. Now, there was one argument they got into, and it was the police organizations. So Biden had said that, how much he supports law enforcement, like how important it is, to he doesn't believe in defunding the police. He believes in police reform. He believes that, there has to be a way for this country to come together, and how he has a strong hope that this country can come together and overcome this, which is the first time you've heard that in God knows how long. A hope that we can heal and we can mend and we can move forward.
4 years.
It's been 4 fucking years. And so the argument turned into the police organizations. Name one organization that
you don't have any law enforcement. You don't have any law enforcement.
They support me. They don't support you. And it's like, okay, that's fine. But you're not sitting
here. That's actually not true.
Oh, I'm sure it's not true. But then he's like, name one. And I'm like, oh, don't ask Biden about names. I feel like Biden's the guy. It's like, I don't fucking know the name of it, but I got a couple. It's on a piece of paper.
It was just Trump trying to do his best Christopher Hitchens impression. That guy does great in debates. I'm going to copy him. Name one. Name one.
He did that a lot. That did happen.
Do you think Donald Trump, who knows who famous intellect, philosopher, and journalist Christopher Hitchens is?
I'm sure I've heard of him. He's a great guy. I just had lunch with him last Tuesday. He's really fun.
Like Frederick Douglass.
No, so Bernie Roberts just said she thinks that Trump is getting nervous because his numbers have been decreasing, which actually I think that showed a lot of emotion in the night. I do agree with that.
Like a lot of snarling, that's for sure.
Yeah, she said the Fort Worth Police Officer Association actually did endorse Trump, which is true. I know that they did.
For sure. No.
A couple months ago.
What I was saying that it wasn't true. It's more of a misleading statement, because what Trump was implying was that, again, I hate having to interpret this man's words because he just can't say what he. Anyway, he said you have no law enforcement, and what he apparently meant by that was that you don't have any police officers unions because. He has a lot of unions backing him. Yes. But Biden does have a lot in the law enforcement community, individuals from county sheriffs to district attorneys. Just there are a lot of people that have already come out and endorsed for Biden. So that's more of what I meant by that. It was unfair to say that Biden has no police support.
Right.
Okay. I think that the what I will say the best things in regards to their end game that the GOP and Trump have done is they have, I think, kind of poisoned police reform against people.
Oh, for sure.
It's a fear tactic.
Oh yeah.
And
the phrase, it's just the phrase defund. It's so scary.
Yeah.
When people are saying, defund the police, I wish they never said that phrase because it's disingenuous. And it's
entirely.
And it's not. I wish they didn't say it, and they did, and that kind of shot them in the foot, and it gave like a good running back, the GOP, something to run through with. And like, they wanted to make sure that your police officers are never protected. They're going to fucking die. And the thing is, like, and I think the Democrats need to double down on this. I don't know if they think they'll lose voters if they talk too much about, police, but they need to just double down on the fact that no, we want reform. We don't want to take away the police guns. We don't want to take away, any protection from, being shot or any tactics from preventing things. Like there is a lot that needs done. There's
How much did you love Biden's response to that? Whenever Trump was talking about him, he wants to defund the police. And Biden says, "No, I don't. That's not my policy." And then, of course, which he referred to multiple times, you just lost the radical left. You just lost them. Yeah, so he doesn't want to defund the police, and he says, "Oh yeah, in fact, I want to give them more money." The only person here that doesn't want to give more money to the police is Donald Trump. He's the one that wants to defund them because he's trying to pull over $400 million out of local police's budgets because they already go to those local police, and he's trying to cut that stuff. So who's trying to defund the police now?
It's a perfect campaign strategy when you use the generalizations like defund and radical left.
That's the problem.
Yes, it is, because it's simple and it's generalized. But I feel like whenever you use that campaign, you've been using it for 4 years, like with your rhetoric, you do lose grip. This is what I was saying before, like with reality. You don't know like what half this country is really thinking or feeling or trying, what they want, to happen, progressively, I guess, for, peace and change and stuff like that, to get to the next step. I think Trump doesn't have that. I think he's told certain things. He thinks that, Black Lives Matter is the biggest terrorist organization. That blows my mind, like just using it that way. It's the biggest terrorist organization in the country. But
it's so scary that the KKK is afraid to operate because of their presence.
But the problem with it is they don't look at the actual rioting that's going on. They're saying, look at what's happening in these democratic liberal areas. It doesn't happen anywhere else. And this is where Fort Worth got their shout out for, violence happening over there too. You must be proud to be from here anyways. But you got to, I don't understand the direction you're trying to go, because you're alienating half the people. And I feel like what Biden was trying to do that last night, even though he did stoop to the level and start doing the same shit back and forth, you're right, he did. There was a point where he was asking for, how to get past this and, how to move forward, how we have to come together. And he clearly said he doesn't support the rioting. He doesn't support the violence. There's nothing, there's nothing acceptable. It's completely unacceptable what's going on. So what more do you have to do, to convince somebody that like, well, you hate what's going on here. You now think that Black Lives Matter is a terrorist organization, but you're quickly willing to defend a white supremacist group or whatever by saying, well, they're not as violent. They literally, they run their whole organization on saying that they're the superior fucking race, bro. Like I don't understand how that's okay. How do you want to isolate yourself like that?
It's not just that, but I'm not trying to say, Antifa is this, like, oh, those little cherubs did nothing. Are you kidding? No, it's not that. But a lot of the riots that we saw, because what we do know statistically that 93% of the protests were 93% were harmless. There's no destruction, no death, nothing. But the ones that showed a lot of like when they showed the what is it that they're saying, $2 billion of damage over the country that Black Lives Matter caused, and it's like, okay, we'll go look at that and go and look how many that they've determined were things started by right-wing provocateurs, like the George Floyd, I think, was the first one, the George Floyd protest, and they called him the Umbrella Man. And there's this dude that went around, like, he had an umbrella. He was like, he kind of went around, like, he smashed in a window with the umbrella and kind of started that, like, streak of damage. And they identified him as, like, I think it was like law enforcement or something, but it was a provocateur. And so, not to say they all started that way, but there's instigators, and that's
they had ones from Weatherford, just west of here. They had provocateurs basically that were smashing cars and doing things, putting Black Lives Matter on it, and they got arrested because there was eyewitnesses.
And that's not to say that it only starts with that. Like Antifa are not these like little tiny baby dolls that you just want to cuddle up and kiss on their forehead before they go to sleep.
No, because they're ruining your message. Do what, Dustin?
I was gonna say, don't tell some people that.
They don't believe it. They don't believe it.
To some people, they are the sweetest, babiest angels that could ever exist. And to others, they are the most dangerous and also at the same time least dangerous organization that we've ever seen. So
a bunch of soy boy, femboy cucks are gonna fucking destroy the nation.
Brittany said that our officers are in such a horrible position with society, and she lives that life every day. She goes, I don't know how we will overcome this. It's scary. My spouse is Fort Worth PD, and it's hard every day, especially when you support the people of color and back the blue. I get so much shit when I wear my thin blue line stuff. I get that.
But see, that's the thing. I gotta say, I back the blue. I like police. They are good. Most of them do a good job. Some of them do a shitty job. But
that
doesn't mean that I hate all cops.
Exactly.
Most of them are just trying to do their job, go about their day, and go home. I mean, that's same as me, same as you, same as all of us. Just because I believe that Black Lives Matter doesn't mean that I don't believe that police lives matter. But I also do prescribe to the Chappelle bit about that. Oh, we'll talk about that later.
Well, no, it made me think about, Trevor Noah, and he just was like, it is possible, to support Black Lives Matter and Blue Lives Matter. Like there's nothing saying you have to pick one or the other. There is, a middle. It's not.
Man, that's a really novel concept.
But the problem.
Did you just come up with that right now? Are you really smart or something?
The problem I feel that perpetuates basically, and it's with this Black Lives Matter movement, is when the movement started, it was 100% peaceful, and then they weren't listened to, and then it gets worse because you're being ignored. Colin Kaepernick was big when it came to the kneeling, and some people disagreed with it, and then they would make excuses about deaths, that had a lot of injustice, like, oh, this person, they may have committed a crime, but justice wasn't served and they were killed. They were murdered. They were executed. Something happened. And, that's where Black Lives Matter is like, hey, we're not given due process here. So that's the problem that we have with the situation. Ignored. Okay. So let's take it to the next level. Nationwide protests, ignored. NFL anthem protesting, ignored, or now disgusted. Now they're disgusting me. And now they're angry. So now it's almost like logic and basic reasoning has gone out the window. And now you have stupid riots and stupid bullshit things happening because people feel like they can get away with certain crimes during these massive protests. And now they're looked at as the biggest terrorist organization. Well, there was never a point. There was never a point where you gave empathy to a movement. And now you want to label them as a terrorist organization. That mixed with how they think all police are bad. That's bullshit. That's a bullshit movement. That's anger. And that's all I hear whenever that happens is anger. You're angry at a certain sect of people that you feel like is threatening your life. Okay, I get that. But not all cops are fucking bad. And we all just have to
find that that's generally a very angry group of people in general that only think in those us versus term, or us
only a
versus
Sith deals in absolutes.
Sorry, Mason, please go ahead.
Here's the problem with what I might get shit for this. I don't mean this in a total way or in a way that condemns all cops. The difference is, yes, it is harder for police officers now, and I have family that are police officers too, and I'm not anti-cop at all. The problem is that there is a unfortunate historic sort of ally relationship with the police and racist organizations. That is not over today. It's still ongoing. Like that, you'll see certain, depending on what city you're in, depending on what town or whatever, the police are going to back the people that Black Lives Matter are protesting. The police are, and you've seen actual videos currently. I've seen it, and you can call this anecdotal because it is. I'm not saying this is the total relationship between police and these organizations, but there was one video that stuck out to me where it was a huge kind of Trump rally, a bunch of bikers, a bunch of there's some white supremacist groups or whatever, and there was a one as a white dude who was protesting for Black Lives Matter, had a sign. Now actually they're all heckling him like, get the fuck out of here, we're gonna kick your fucking ass, you better fucking leave. And there's police presence there, the police are monitoring it. And one of the I don't even want to say it was a Trump rally specifically, but the organization that was protesting Black Lives Matter, one of the people went up to that guy and punched him in the back of the head. And the guy was like, "What the fuck?" And the police stood there, just like stared at him. And the guy was like, "That guy just fucking punched me." And the police just stood there. This isn't, again, this is where I'm worried I'll get shit for. But what I'm saying is, while not every cop is like that, there is a historic link between those groups and the police, whether it be a natural meeting of beliefs in some cases, or an infiltration, because the KKK was known to infiltrate those law enforcement organizations. So that's
well, and whenever the police were first founded in this nation, it was to catch slaves. It wasn't even just to keep the peace. It was to catch slaves.
Yeah, and actually, that's what that's what Brittany was saying here. She's talking about the Netflix documentary 13th. People of color treatment has been a problem. It's been around since slavery. Yes, of course. I mean, there's nothing there that has been different. It was a government's way of still controlling the black race. You talk about Jim Crow. I mean, like, you can go through everything with that. There is a history with it. And the problem is today is you have, black faces and white faces alike that have equal number of, or I guess an equal opportunity when it comes to projecting your voice. It's just now, it leads to a larger argument, I feel like, right now. And
this is such a complicated issue. A Joe Biden presidency is not going to fix this. This is an ongoing thing.
Oh, yeah.
And who's to say there's even a fix for it? This could just be the human conditions, the unfortunate thing we have to look at. And so
there was a history where one owned the other. Yeah. I would say that this is going to be an ongoing issue.
Well, yes, and
you took away our labor. You took away our labor.
Did I make an oopsie there? But no, there is still and while yes, most cops are good cops. I know the good cops. I think I like to believe I do. And
man, that guy sounds really cool.
Dude, that guy was a badass.
The biggest dick I've ever seen in my life. It was over the Western Center, and I still saw it. Almost hit my eye. But no, you have to until the police organizations are ready to root out that problem. And not to say that some aren't making that effort, but it has to be a more widespread thing. It's still always going to be an issue, and that's just a fact that has to be realized.
And it's not just police. It's all law enforcement. It's lawyers. It's due process. It's it goes deep. And that's where I feel like, Black Lives Matter, this is my opinion on it. They want murder one on everything. It's like, you're not like, that's not.
Yeah, it's exactly like we were talking about last week with the Taylor case. Like, man, I want nothing more than for all of those officers to get something. But if you want justice, I mean, it was a legal thing that they kind of legally did. So it's just, Like, dude, I feel I want those guys to be punished, but if you wanna keep your legal system the same, and not that it doesn't need to be tweaked or changed, I just mean like if you want fair representation, it has to be fairly represented.
It becomes more of a socioeconomic issue, and I feel like that's how it's always. Until that gets fixed, I've always said it takes 100 years for something like this to adjust. And between, the freedom of the slaves and civil rights movement, it was 100 years with a lot of hiccups in between there with Jim Crow and everything, for that to even become more of an equality. And it's going to take another 100 years, for civil rights to be in full effect. And then it could take another 100 years for socioeconomic equality. This is going to go on way beyond after we're even here, and there's nothing we can do about it except just love one another and show empathy. But not everybody's going to do that. They're going to say that they're the victim in a situation. Oh man, and that's my perfect opinion. Donald Trump is the ultimate victim in a situation, and people thrive on that. They go, they're hurting my president. That blows my fucking mind how that works. But no,
there would never be another cult-like president, or I hope at least. But there hasn't been a cult-like president because, a lot of people have been saying that like they're offended, they're angry, just like how could people come after Trump this way, and they hate the fact that people could be so cruel to the president. And then on the left, I can speak for myself specifically, when it's just like, who are you voting for? Because with Trump supporters, they're voting for themselves. They're voting for what they believe in, meaning that they're voting for their specific, like for me, I don't want to be embarrassed. I don't want this guy to lose because that's going to be embarrassing for me. For the left, like, how can you support Joe Biden? It's like, I don't give a fuck. I need us one step closer the other direction. I don't care if it's Joe
the other way.
I don't care if it's Joe Biden. I don't care if it's Pete Buttigieg. I don't care if it's Andrew Yang.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Vladimir Putin. I was like, easy.
No.
I need you to calm down a little bit.
That's where I thought you were going to.
The most liberals, what I'm trying to say is that, we don't care who the figure is, just as long as it moves us closer to our ideals. But Trump supporters are so attached to Trump because of their own kind of like,
for sure. No,
like, Trump to win. It's like, no, I don't fucking care who the Democrat is, because if they somewhat resemble the platform I want, I'm going to vote for them. But you have to have this guy because you worship him. It's terrifying.
It is terrifying.
It's not the Republican Party anymore. And I mean that wholeheartedly. And agreed. I believe that that's evidenced simply by the fact that the Republican Party has no platform whatsoever.
No.
And look it up. Look that up. If you doubt me, look that up. The Republican Party has zero platform. They are strictly running on this one guy and this guy who said he was going to fix everything and be the biggest and best, and he's going to do all these great things and all of these wonderful things, and America's going to win again, and you're going to be so tired of winning, and it's going to be great, and you're going to love it. I don't love it, and I know a lot of people that really don't love it. So that's what they're running on. They're betting that people are just going to, oh yeah, he's done a fine enough job. He's done okay. So yeah, we'll just let him keep running the country the way he sees fit. There's no platform involved. There's no policy. There's no plan as far as dealing with COVID, really. There's nothing. It's just we're running on this guy. That's it.
Absolutely. Yeah.
They're voting for themselves because they put this much into him.
Because I see myself in that guy.
We got to move on to the final segment. I want to say this: the last thing Brittany said here. You can't say you're colorblind. That's not how you should look at it. You should see color. You should be aware of what people of color deal with, because being colorblind is just shoving their history under the rug.
Amen. Amen.
So, and that being said, I want to move on to the last bit that we got this evening right now. And it's actually, now I kind of wanted to discuss it before what it's officially called. Did you do a Snopes fact check on this?
No, it's PolitiFact.
PolitiFacts. Okay.
Yeah,
right. So we're gonna do a quick fact or fiction.
I'm excited about this.
Yes.
Yeah, it's nothing fancy. I mean, it's just a little quick. Just let's have a few laughs before we kill the show because we kind of got a little heavy there, and I'd like to end on a happy note. That's why we do Thanks for Something. So
the nation's trembling, so let's have some laughs.
Right. So I just figured we'd call it fact or fiction, but like I said, I'm not married to the name. I mean, by the way, everybody out there in La La Land, you're witnessing the birth of a segment. We came up with this like a half hour before we came on the air, and we're like, what if we did this?
Yeah,
so,
let's do it.
Dustin early in Texas, and we were both like, that's cool.
So anyway, I was doing my pre-show research and whatnot, just kind of perusing articles and getting different sides and seeing how people were generally feeling. And I came across the PolitiFact fact-checking the first 2020 presidential debate, Joe Biden versus Donald Trump article that they have here. And I thought it might be fun if I went through a few of these claims that either side made last night, and I would like for both of you to guess whether or not it's false, mostly false, misleading, needs context, mostly true, just the basic, how do you think that this is actually landing? Regardless of, I mean, if you know the facts, you know the facts, or at least if you've done some research, you know what I mean? But let's just see how we all stack up against PolitiFact.
Okay.
So who wants to go first?
Mason goes first.
Actually, I'll tell you what. Let's do a both. I'll ask the question, and then let me see if I can't find this real quick.
I love preparation.
I know. Well, I'm having to scroll is the only problem. I'm getting insulin. So cheap it's like water. Mike. Yeah, however you want to do it. I don't care.
Fiction?
Mike says fiction. Mason?
I'm going to say biblical style fiction. Like fictional fiction.
Like, what are you doing, fiction? It is rated mostly false.
Mostly false. So that means
yes.
Because 100% false.
Well, so Trump did sign an executive order at the end of July, and I remember when he did this, that helps target the prices of insulin, but the scope was limited. It only targeted a select group of healthcare providers that represent fewer than 2% of the relevant outlets for insulin. And also, just so you know, between 2017 and 18, insulin prices for seniors rose.
So basically, 8 people got cheaper insulin.
The right people got cheaper insulin.
Herman Cain.
Well, rather, not the right people got cheaper insulin. The right companies were forced to charge less for insulin is more appropriate to how that plays out. Okay. Where is this one? I'm so sorry, guys. This was better in my head.
It's
basically good. Okay, here we go. I found it. I'm the one that brought back football. By the way, I'm the one that brought back Big Ten football. Mason?
I'm going to say that is as false as the Civil War being fought for states' rights.
Okay. Mike?
I'm going to say it's true.
Okay. I like the spread we got here. The answer PolitiFact gives is that it's misleading because while Trump did push the Big Ten College Football Conference to reverse its original decision to not play football, they eventually did decide to do so. But the NCAA president said that they had not talked to the White House since April, and then Big Ten officials who voted to resume play in October said that Trump's position wasn't significant in their decision.
So they don't do it because he's like, if I get elected for 4 more years, that's a lot of time. I need to watch football. I don't have.
No, he did it. No, because so when they were, you remember whenever they were musing on whether or not to even have a college football season, and Trump tweeted out into the ether just to no one in general, just football has to come back. It's an American institution. We have to have football. Just whatever he actually tweeted. I don't remember, but that's what he's talking about. Yeah, yes, he brought it back because of that.
Get the black folk out for my entertainment again.
So tough.
Just a little quick one. Or no, I'll do that. I'll say that for last. Let's see. Trump claimed that Biden called members of the military, quote, stupid bastards. He said it on tape. He said stupid bastards. Mason?
Lacking context.
What is it?
That's very much lacking context.
Okay, Mike?
I'm going to have to agree with that. I'm going to say true.
Yeah, he did, but not in the way that Trump said it.
That's exactly correct. It's half true. He did use the term stupid bastards as part of a joke in addressing a group of airmen during a trip overseas back in 2016. And if Trump is allowed to get away with saying something sarcastically, then yeah, whatever. Who cares?
Like
nothing matters anymore. Whatever.
The bleach in the arm.
Yeah.
And he was like,
I said it sarcastically. Who didn't take me sarcastically? Nobody? Okay.
But I did, because I saw that video on Reddit, and it was like a cringe video, the Reddit cringe, and Joe Biden said, "Go on and clap, you stupid bastards," and then it stopped. And then I went to the comments, and everyone's basically like, "Oh, it's funny how you stopped it right before everyone started laughing," because he had been joking with them.
So it's not even just that. They went on a little further. His campaign confirmed that he called them that. And he called them a dull bunch. But he said these remarks were made not in disrespect, but in jest to generate applause for a female lieutenant he was referencing. In the full speech, Biden repeatedly complimented the troops and spoke about his late son, Beau, who served as a major in the Delaware Army National Guard.
Gotcha.
Yeah, if you talk to any military people, they'll talk about how the Marines eat crowns.
Yeah, for sure.
And like Marines will be like, "Oh, send me crowns for in my care package."
I'd rather have crayons to eat than fly with the chair force or whatever. Yeah.
The chair force.
It's the difference between calling them losers and suckers.
Yeah. Privately, when you don't think anybody's listening or going to report it later. So
it's an inside joke, and like Michael Scott, Trump would love to be part of one day.
Okay, let's do one more, just one more. Biden made the claim that we have a higher deficit with China now than we did before, meaning before Trump's presidency. Mike?
That is true. Mason?
I'll say mostly true.
Okay. Any reasonings? Or just based on faith? I'm not judging or anything. I'm asking.
I'm pretty sure it has something to do with COVID. Pretty sure. And something about a trade deal that he did. Does it have to do with the Paris Accord?
No.
No,
okay.
I
was wrong.
The tariffs.
I'm sorry, Mason?
I lost you there for a second. Tariffs.
Well, you're both wrong. The PolitiFact. Yeah, China doesn't exist. They're just like giraffes in Finland and New Zealand and birds. They don't actually exist. So, well, I lost it now. Biden made the claim. There it is. Biden made that claim, and PolitiFact rates it as mostly false.
Oh,
really?
Yes.
I was reading last night that was true.
So, hear it out. The most inclusive measurement of trade, which includes goods and services, shows that the U.S. trade deficit with China was smaller under Trump in 2019, which is the most recent full year, than it was in any of the final 3 years of the Obama administration. However, if you only look at goods, the trade deficit was generally higher under Trump than it was under Obama. So it declined around the same level as the final year of the Obama administration. So,
but if they look at like the dollar value, it is
right.
smaller
Yes.
than what it was under the Obama administration. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
So it's mostly false. It's not exactly a true claim. I was trying to throw in a few from both guys so that we don't come off as just these partisan hacks over here.
True or false?
They already think that you're not gonna change their minds. Like just just don't even worry about it.
I disagree with Trump. Well, you're a fucking libtard. You fucking libtard, fucktard.
Do you have, before I end this, do you even have a speck of dust for us this evening?
I've got a thanks for something and a speck of dust. Thank you very much.
Okay, well, let's go to the thanks for something here. We got to wrap up this podcast. Well, while he's looking that up, I want to let you guys.
Yeah, do it.
So we are on Patreon as well. We're looking for donations to grow and further expand our podcast. We are also live right now on YouTube, which is thanks to number 4 nothing. Most of you guys maybe watch me on the Facebook page podcast right now, which is under the T4N podcast. We're also on Twitch, same name. And you guys can follow us on Patreon. Thanks the number 4 nothing.
Yeah, make sure you pound on the subscribe button and then punch the like button with your fist.
And punch your computer and throw it out of the window.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Get on top of the roof and throw it off. That's how you show your support for us.
As negative as, the last 2 days have been, 3 days, really, if you want to include, us, Dallas-Fort Worth people watching the Stars losing Game 6 with the disaster of the debate, as most people would like to say. Yes, Ethan, I will put those links in the comments as well. I like to wrap it up with a little thanks for something, and Dustin has come to the rescue, and he actually has one because I went, oh shit, I didn't even put one of those in here. So who are we thanking this evening?
T-Mobile, as it turns out.
Oh God!
And not just because they're my cell phone provider. If you know what I'm saying.
They're better than the AT&T. I'll tell you what.
Anyway, they have a project called Project 10 Million. Let's see, just a few days ago, or no, this morning apparently. Yeah, it was just this morning. Over 15,000 students in households from 5 different school districts across the country were given free internet connectivity this morning because many children struggle with online learning due to unreliable Wi-Fi and other, such issues like the novel coronavirus pandemic. Turns out these school districts were in Allegheny Valley, Pennsylvania, Jackson, Mississippi, Baltimore, Maryland, Santa Fe, New Mexico, and South Bend, Indiana. It started out this morning with 15,000 children. The whole plan is, of course, to give 5 years of free internet connection in homes across the country.
Wow.
For 10 million students. Good grief. I need to get my words better. They want to hit, they start out with 15,000 today. They want to hit up to 10 million eventually, and they all get free internet, and just, it's a good thing. And I'm tired of I'm Joe Bidening over here, guys. Help me.
Sleepy Dustin Hunter.
Look here, Jack.
Hunting the next snap.
Well, thanks for something.
Yes, thanks for something, T-Mobile. We appreciate it.
Oh, I love live podcasts. This is the best thing in the world. So, that being said, what a great 20th episode since we've been back on. I've definitely enjoyed doing this with you two guys. And thank you for everybody who's contributed in the comments of the Thanks for Nothing podcast. We'd like to get you guys on here. Next week, we'll probably be having another guest on to discuss a little bit more from the conservative point of view on certain things as well.
Good. We need alternative facts.
We definitely need alternative facts. Coming from me, Mike, Mason Blakely, and the Dustin Hunter. Thanks for nothing, everybody. And here is your speck of dust.
Between March 1969 and October 1970, Creedence Clearwater Revival. God.
Good night, everybody.
God.
More hits than the Beatles.
It's so bad. They scored 5 number 2 singles on the Billboard Top 100 with Proud Mary, Bad Moon Rising, Green River, Traveling Band, and Looking Out My Back Door, but they never got one of their songs to the top spot. No other band has ever done that.
Interesting.
And they have had more hits in that time span than the Beatles.